We're going to talk today about the fur trade and the beginnings of the fur trade. So here in Minnesota, obviously the fur trade and Wisconsin and Canada and all along that area was a pretty big important thing. But before I get to that, I want to go back a little bit to the whole world of trade. If you remember back to fifth grade, you should have learned about the Europeans and the explorers that were tired of going across land to get to India, and people that made their way around Africa sailing instead to get to India to get their spices and the things like that, to trade back and forth between the two lands. So sailors would come in, they would, go around Africa, come back, and they were looking to make some money, make a profit. That's one of your vocabulary words. To profit is to make more money than it costs you to make the item. So, for instance, if I make bicycles and it costs me $40 to build a bicycle, and I sell it to you for $100, I just made $60 profit. Okay, so it's making money. That's what Europeans are looking to do. That's the reason Christopher Columbus tried to sail the other way to get to India, and he bumped into us over here in our part of the world. He was looking to establish a new trade route, uh, and instead he ran into our land. So I'm not going to go into Christopher Columbus because we're not doing that right now. I want to go back to kind of our time. So in our part of the world, it's mainly the French and the English and somewhat the people from Scotland or the Netherlands called the Dutch are coming to our part of the world to start doing some trade, especially for beaver fur. Beaver pelt, the skin of a beaver, is a really important thing because it is so soft and it's durable. It stands up to bad weather and wind and that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty important item for the wealthy people back in England. So as they came into our area, a major company had set up shop in Montreal. There was another company near Hudson Bay, and they would send voyageurs into our area. So Duluth being right here, Fond du Lac was an Ojibwe region. We've learned that from the migration story. We were an important place. From Duluth, voyageurs could get further inland to meet Dakota people. From Grand Portage in Minnesota, they could get up towards Lake Winnipeg, following rivers and lakes. So Minnesota was a pretty important place. A lot of people came here from all around during the fur trade, and even before the fur trade. I hate to keep going back and forth. There was trade already among Native Americans. Um, so before the Europeans, Native Americans would trade with each other. They might trade for food like wild rice. They might trade for tools like copper. They knew how to make and use copper as a tool, making kettles and different things like that. Um, Here in Minnesota, archaeologists have found traces of or evidence of like shells from the Gulf of Mexico region, pottery from Arizona, New Mexico type region here in Minnesota. Well, how would they get that? They would travel and they would trade. There's a big city in Native American before European time called Cahokia, down in Illinois. I think I talked about that in a previous lesson. People would come from all over into this city, a city as big as, say, London or Rome back in Europe at the time, where people would come and make those trades. So the trading world was huge here in Minnesota, as it was really throughout the United States. Uh, Lots of great resources. So not only beaver, but things like timber, the wood to build things, different animals, different food. They might trade seeds. The Native Americans are looking for things to make their lives easier. The Europeans from England and France and places like that are looking to make money. Any questions? Come find your teacher in a Google Meet. We'll see ya.